Okay. And I will do roll call.
Make sure to speak into the mic so people.
Is it on?
Yes, there you go.
Tammy here. Thank you. Aaron,
She's absent.
Travis,
Absent.
Valerie.
Here.
Thank you. Michael
Absent.
and Denise.
Here.
Thank you. And I am looking for approval for the minutes, excuse me, from the minutes for April 3rd of 2023 and April 17th of 2023.
I move we accept.
Do I have
You
a
can just
second?
say the consent agenda and that contains both of the minutes.
I move we accept the consent agenda.
Seconded. I second it.
Thank you.
All in favor?
I
Aye. Aye.
Fantastic. Okay. So you should all have the community groups list. It
Yes.
was emailed in the packet. I am going to share an updated one because today Tammy sent me a lot of really good contacts for the churches in the area. And so I have a good updated list for that.
I was going to ask you, do I need to get first name contact, or is it okay that we just have their phone number?
It would be great if you had contact,
Okay,
like if we hadn't had a person, but it's not required.
okay. I'll try to work on that though. See if we can't get somebody.
Okie dokie. So down here are the additions. I heard back about the Ministerial Association. I know that we had talked about that at a previous meeting, but nobody knew the contact. However, they emailed me and I have the contact for that. And then Tammy sent me the rest of these other churches in the area. The rest of the list is the same as we had previously. So in your packet. Is there anything else that you guys want to add to this list? Anything that's missing? I know that Joel was talking.
Yeah, I owe you guys a bunch still.
Okay,
I'll send it to you directly. I'll see if I can do it today.
okay, fantastic. So he was going to send me veteran organizations.
Oh, cool. Okay. Cool.
So what information do you need for those? You just need the name, phone number, email, and who it is.
Yeah, so name, phone number, and or email would be great. And then the organization.
Okay, I'll put that on my OU list for tomorrow because I need to get a few more information then.
Okay, no problem.
Yep.
Thank you. If we don't have any other comments or suggestions, we can move on.
All right.
Sounds
One
good.
page info was, Erin was going to talk about that today, but she is not here. So we will skip that for now. And so next would be organizing who would like to schedule the meeting with school staff about student council. Are there any volunteers?
Does anybody want to reach out to the school to set up a meeting with school staff?
I have kids at the high school. Do we just all four school, wait, one, two.
I think we're looking at high school age for the
Okay, sweet.
student council. Yeah.
I can do it. I'll take care of it.
Okay.
One good thing that we learned from when the traffic and public safety went to meet with the school is they went to the school board, which is probably a good place to go because they can connect you with their right meetings and who to talk to there and get it approved, because I'm feeling it's gonna have to go through them anyways. And that would be I can get you the exact name and number of the person to contact, but you can actually get on their agenda to discuss it with them. Because if you go there in person to the meeting without pre-scheduling it with them, you only get 3 minutes to talk unless you're on their agenda already. So I'll see if I can get you that information here to send out to them. Okay.
Thank you.
That would be great.
All right, so next we've got our natural hazard mitigation plan update. Take it away.
Okay, so this is a huge document, and it's a lot of information to take in. So I'm going to ask you to do a couple things on it. One is we're going to review the assets in the area and see if there's anything missing. Let me open that up and share the screen. 1 second. Okay. Okay, so here we have a list of our what they're calling critical and essential facilities. So these are critical to government response and recovery activities. So things like 911 centers, police, fire station, public works facilities, sewer, water, etc. So I don't know if there's anything else that you can think of that is not on this list. Do you need me to read it off to you? Or can you see it? Okay.
What about, I don't know if they're talking. Okay.
Sorry, I muted you, Denise. You had some
I-
background noise.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay.
So, oh, I see. Okay, what it's supposed to include, it says up above. Okay. Um,
If we don't have anything on this, that's fine. There's a few other places that, things might fit. So the next is the critical infrastructure. And this is physical infrastructure, things like bridges, streets, water lines, hydrants. And these are ones that are critical to providing emergency response. So this is not going to be all of the streets in the city, but the critical roadways and the critical bridges.
mhm. With the community service, wouldn't that be on the first chart? The community, not service, but community center.
The community center.
Shouldn't that be listed there? Wouldn't that be one of our places where people would go for?
Yeah, we can add the community center to that one. It is listed on another chart, but you're probably right that the community center would be considered a critical facility for has a meeting place and getting people together. And I know that they provide services to older Americans.
Mhm.
The community center was listed here under the vulnerable populations, which includes places that are where people gather or where people live, that have populations which may have special needs or require special consideration.
Do we have the name of that new low income?
Oh, the new apartments.
Mhm.
It's by Greenlight Development. I will see if I can find the name of it.
Seems like that should be on this list, but I don't know for sure. It was told to me that that's supposed to be a low income.
I think it's low to moderate income. But-
Okay.
You talk about the one that's across from the right near the library, the one that's just going up now.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah, that's identified as affordable housing, so it's income driven. But it isn't like Section 8 or anything, so it's not low income, so that's the difference. As weird as that sounds, as differentiating it, or believe it or not, there's a difference on that one, I learned. I do notice you have mobile home parks, but there's one that specifically needs to be listed out, and that's the one that's across from I think it's Wade Creek Park. It has a very high population of elderly in there, and so, for example, during the fires, they didn't evacuate most of that area because most of them had nowhere to go, or didn't have the
Okay.
resources to evacuate. So they stayed
That-
in town during that time.
I believe that one isn't it Ultramar too? Is
Yes.
that the name of that one? Okay, it is listed. It is called out specifically. It's like right near the top because this is in alpha
Is
order.
that what's called? Okay, I didn't know the name.
Yep,
of it,
uh-huh.
So perfect.
On that same subject, there's that, gosh, I can't remember what it's called, but the other park up the highway on the left side. I don't remember what it's called. I should know what it's called.
Is it outside city limits?
Oh, it is
Okay.
still part of us, but
It's
yeah.
probably, it's probably outside the UGB too, and this extends to the UGB. But
Oh, okay.
To
so-
avoid having to go back, by the way, there's another childcare facility going in the old forestry building. So
Okay.
it's not fully established yet, but they've been working on it, and
Yeah.
it'll probably be established soon. So rather than having to come back and try to update this later.
Yeah.
So at least make a note for it or something.
Yep. Got it. Forestry building childcare. Okay. I know there's probably quite a few childcare facilities that aren't listed because I think there's probably some home-based ones. And you know, we try and track those as well as possible, but since they're so small, they can often be under the radar. Do you want to move on to another section and see if there's anything else missing? Okay. Another section that we have listed is environmental facilities such as parks, green spaces, wetlands, rivers. These are things that we want to call out because not only do they look nice, but they are also part of our ecosystem in the community. And so all of our parks are listed here. Curran Creek, Wade Creek, the Clackamas River, obviously. But there might be things that you think should be listed in here, like if there's any significant areas of wetlands or anything else that should be listed that's not here. And as a heads up, this is not the final document. We'll be bringing it back at What's Up. So if you have other things that you think of between now and the 15th and you're like, hey, Elena, you need to add this facility to it, you can always email me later to include it until this comes before the council and it's approved. You've got some time.
Aren't there some new parks too going into some of these subdivisions? Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like the Cascadia Ridge Park and the Campanella Park. So like Campanella is not developed yet, but that will be developed. And so that's in there. And I
That's
think
great.
Cascadia Ridge is the one that they're just putting in the playground equipment this week. Is it Cascadia Ridge? I think so.
That's good. Okay.
And then the next section is hazardous materials. It's facilities that if damaged could cause serious secondary impacts. So a lot of these we were thinking, where are they storing things like large gas tanks or large propane tanks? You know, things of that nature or other chemicals where they may cause serious secondary impacts. So if there was an earthquake and now we have to worry about the gas tanks catching fire at the gas station across the street, you know, those kind of things, the secondary impacts. So if you have anything that's not on this list.
What about what happens to this charging station
Oh,
out here? I don't know.
I
if-
don't know.
have no idea in an earthquake what would happen to a charging station, but it might want to, you might want to.
There would be bigger issues from transformers on power lines in a charging station, because that's no different than like a gigantic plug-in. So that wouldn't have any more problem than every telephone. I mean, most telephone poles in the city would have. So
Okay.
Reliance Connects has or two large propane tanks outside of their central office,
Okay.
and it is gated.
Okay.
let's see. When talk about the industrial park, are you considering also the area that's kind of right next to Timber Park, that little separate little road there that has couple warehouses and buildings and stuff in there, but it's not actually in the industrial park?
That little triangle area right there.
I don't know if it's a triangle, but like there's like it's like a little road that used to be able to enter the backside of the park there. No, I'm thinking about it's just past that. It's there's a big field there empty, and then off the highway there's like 4 or 5 buildings in the back. I can't think of the name of the road right now. It's kind of off River Mill, that area. Right across, almost kind of right across from where the Estacada Bark is at.
Okay.
So you know what I'm talking about now.
I don't know, but I will look at it. So off River Mill.
They have like
across from us.
Workforce Now is there, and there's some other industrial buildings there. So, but they're not in the actual industrial park itself. So
Okay.
I'm not sure how you would call that. Probably just the whole street. There's on the separate street it has on the side there. Probably the best way to describe it.
Mhm.
Also, there was another one too. I had the True Value. They may store stuff in there as well.
Okay. Okay, I'll add them to the list.
And I don't know, should we consider all of the food carts possibly, because sometimes they have large amounts of propane and stuff on there.
I could list them. Yeah.
I don't know if that's something too, if I might be getting a little too much into the weeds on that.
Well, it's definitely something we want to consider if there's a large enough propane tank that it's could potentially be an explosion that damages facilities around it.
I also don't see the city buildings on here, like as far as like we park all the trucks and everything else at.
Okay. I had the wastewater and the water treatment, but not the the public works shop.
Yeah, public work. Yeah, that's a good one to put on there. Speaking of that, the transportation building right there by the post office in that area, just a little bit down from it. DOT building, that's what they call it, DOT building.
Oh, okay.
American Rentals might also have stuff on site too that they use. Oh, you have them there at the top. Okay.
Yep.
Do you guys know if they keep large amounts of chemicals and stuff like oils and things on site for the tire place that may cause leaks or maybe flammable?
Les Schwab's. I don't,
Yeah,
I,
I know they do
don't-
service on different stuff, so I don't know
Mhm.
what they keep on hand there. There may not be anything there, but something to look at.
Yeah, I will put a question mark by that one.
Do they have any big service buildings or anything else in PGE Park? Actually, PG, the park there, Timber Park's not actually in the city limits, is it? I think that actually leaves the city limits.
Mhm.
So, okay.
Yeah, I mean, we have Timber Park listed under critical facilities.
Yeah,
They, at least the PGE portion, because it is a hydroelectric facility.
Okay. Yeah, I just don't know if they have any hazardous stuff on there, but I think that's probably not worth worrying about.
Okay. Are we ready to go to the next section? It is,
One more,
okay,
Napa, they have a lots of stuff there that is flammable
Yes.
like that, so.
yes, they do. Okay. Next, we have economic assets and population centers. So these are either businesses that employ large numbers of people and provide an economic resource. This is the City of Happy Valley. I need to edit this, sorry. Or if damaged, the loss of the economic assets could significantly affect our economic stability. And then we have cultural and historical assets. Most of these came off, the city has a historic buildings list. It's in our code, so most of these came off of that. If there's anything you think should be, yes, Denise.
I am so sorry. I wanted to catch you before we went on to the next thing.
Yeah.
As far as the economic assets, what about our gas stations? I mean, if they went down, don't they pull a lot of money in?
I mean, the gas stations are listed up at the top near the critical facilities.
Oh, okay.
Because it's not only about, do they employ a lot of people? They are responsible for what we need for recovery, as in, even if we don't have power, we have generators that power the water
see.
treatment and the wastewater treatment. And so we need the gas. And so they rank a little higher than like,
Got it.
okay.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, no
Um,
problem.
I think I don't know if we should list Harvest Market separately because we also have Dollar General that sells groceries and things like that, and items people use all the time. And I think they're just as important as Harvest Market. So we can either list them out separately or just identify markets.
Just put markets.
Yeah, I think that might be a big idea because they'll expand out the other ones that we might have. I mean, so
Okay.
I think the key point is supplies for food and other things that we might need. So.
Yep.
Oh,
Was-
thanks. Sorry.
I was thinking about, what about the other markets? If we're gonna list Harvest Market, isn't that listed here under, or was it? Economic
It's under the economic
asset.
assets.
I mean,
Yeah.
we should probably list the other, I don't know all of them, you probably.
I just
would.
expanded it to markets instead,
Okay,
just like we have the industrial parks.
Yep.
So that covers a wide range.
that works.
Yep.
Let's put banks on there too. That's a key thing. Access to
Okay.
funds.
Denise, did you have another comment? I see your hand is raised.
No, I'm sorry, my hand is not raised.
Okay. Okay. And I believe that's the end of the assets. Okay. So now I'd like you guys to switch your brains to think about projects. I'm going to bring up our project list from last time. These are action items that we had on our last natural hazard mitigation plan. And a lot has happened since then because this was last published in 2019. So we've had COVID, we've had fires, we've had ice storms. It has been a wild ride since then. So here were our last projects. So are there things that you feel would be helpful to help mitigate some of the issues, especially as they relate to our more vulnerable populations?
Did you send this to us? Is this in our packet?
I-
Sorry,
I
I'm
don't,
looking.
I think I sent you the entire plan, but I can read these off to you.
Okay. I
That
can-
might be easier because there's not very many of them. One is to develop and maintain public education programs to inform the public about methods for mitigating the impacts of natural hazards. So this is things like, create your emergency go bag and, clean the gutters on your house to prevent fire, those kind of things. The other is to integrate the goals and action items from the plan into our regulatory documents and programs where appropriate. That's completely city stuff. Changing our code. Conduct seismic evaluations on upgrades on all critical city facilities. Increase the capacity of culverts by identifying and proposing mitigation activities for culverts that are prone to flooding. So that's part of what we did with the whole Wade Creek Park project was to upgrade the culverts, help change that from the pond to the facility right now, which will handle more water flow. Then implement the projects in the stormwater master plan. That has to do with flooding again. Reduce negative effects from severe windstorms and severe winter storm events. Encourage facilities to become certified Red Cross shelter sites and maintain a list of disaster shelters located throughout Estacada. And review, promote, and implement action items identified on the Clackamas County Community Wildfire Protection Plan. Now, the county is in the process of updating the wildfire protection plan, so I don't know what's on it this upcoming year. But when I did reach out to them to ask if things like evacuation planning were on it, they said no. It is mostly for things like debris clearing and communications and that kind of thing, not necessarily for getting people out of here, but preventing fires. So if you think of anything that could be helpful, if you have any projects or plans or anything that you've experienced that you think would be important to note going forward?
Does the Estacada Fire Department have any specific, like, for our city, like a plan for our city instead of us being lumped into Clackamas County?
For the wildfire protection
Well,
plan?
I mean, just like, I don't know, I mean, for us to know what the steps are. I mean, I remember how disorganized the fire, nobody knew,
Mhm.
oh yeah, we're supposed to leave.
So, yeah, evacuation planning would probably be something that we would want to do in partnership with the Clackamas County Sheriff and the fire district. Because it's
Oh,
it's
okay.
not necessarily one organization that's doing that planning. So that could be a project that we would put on our upcoming hazard mitigation is evacuation planning.
I do know that the Traffic and Public Safety Committee, that's one of their things that they're working on is evacuation routes and evacuation plans. That's on one of their goals and purviews for this year.
Yeah.
So they'll be working on that directly. And just a couple things about the fire department. They are separate from the city, so they may make and change their plans on a basis without notifying us. But the key thing that they're focused on is actually fighting the fire and that kind of side of things. Whereas evacuation, they don't really do that. That'd be the sheriff's office. So it depends on specifically. It can be more specific about what you're looking for from them. Prevention, they'll have some training and stuff on prevention, but it's like it's piecemealed out. So it just depending on what you're looking for specifically will determine the department you'd have to talk to about it.
The fire department is, we have a hazard mitigation team who's working on this update. And they are going to be looking at these action items later this week. And the fire department has a representative who's serving on that team too.
Yeah, there's also a CERT team as well. That's the basically emergency response teams, the citizen emergency response teams. So
Okay. perfect.
Denise, I see your hand is raised.
Yeah, I had one thing that I noticed the 2020 fire. There are a lot of people who are low income who have a lot of animals.
Mhm.
So can we think about people who have not a lot, like I'm not talking about people who have 30 head of cattle. I'm talking
Mhm.
about people that were desperate on Facebook saying, I've got 5 sheep and no way to, get them out of the fire. And I've got horses, I've got, 2 horses, no horse trailer.
Mhm.
Is there something, can we, I don't know, since everyone gets sent to the fairgrounds, is there someone there that we can maybe coordinate? Hey, can you have trailers ready? Do we have people we can call to say, you've got an extra horse trailer, can we use it now? That kind of thing. Use community resources to help people evacuate their animals. I know it's not as high a priority as people, but
Mhm.
some people will stay. If they can't get their animals out, they'll stay.
That's right.
Yeah, no, that's something that we
Yeah.
can put in the plan and look and see what resources are available and if there's partnerships that we could work together to do something about that in the future.
Yeah.
Knock on wood,
Okay.
we'll ever have to.
Elena, reach
Yeah.
out to the fire department. They actually have a list that we've been working on for the last year or so. They've done most of the work on it, but we're helping them provide some of that information. So they've got a list of a lot of community resources that they've
Yeah.
spun
Yay.
up. So, but we've found during that time is there's a lot of people out there that don't want to be on a list for anything because they rather just in the time kind of stand up and put their hand up then, but they didn't want to be pre-listed. So that's going to be a very uninclusive list because people don't want to be on that list.
Yep. Okay.
Okay.
I was one of those people. I did not have a trailer
Mhm.
and we had to depend on a friend to come all the way from Canby to help us. So,
Yep.
yeah, that's very important.
There like a crisis planning committee for the city? Because it sounds like a lot of the topics we're talking about would have to do with that. And I'm curious that they'd probably have some of this already, I would imagine. Is that,
There's an emergency, like a hazard mitigation team that we're meeting right now to do this planning.
so you're saying that the committee that normally does that is asking us to do it, or that they,
What we're asking for are specific suggestions that are impacting equity. So are there things that are not, obviously last year's list or the last list, we've had experienced a lot of other disasters since then. But are there things that are going to have equity impacts that we can help mitigate?
okay, that makes more sense.
I know something that we've done in the former city I worked for was we created a vulnerable population registry. And those are people who, if there was ever an emergency, needed extra assistance, like they would need either physical assistance leaving their house, or they had things like oxygen that they relied on electricity for, and they had minimal battery backup. So creating that registry helped us know these are people who are going to need some extra help.
Out of curiosity, how did you guys go about gathering that information?
We put a form on the website and we sent it out with the water bills and let people self-register if they wanted to be listed on that.
Cool. I think that's a great idea to have something like that. So something we can pass off to in the case of emergency or evacuation can be passed off to the law enforcement. Who can then know and handle that. So
So I know we've been very focused on fires, but there's another big impact, potential impact would be an earthquake. And I know we haven't had one for years, and wherever you are on the spectrum, believing that the next big one will happen tomorrow or whenever, that could potentially keep people from leaving. So are there impacts that we would need to assist people who can't get out of here, as opposed to a fire, which we would have to get people out of here? So is there things that you can think of that would be helpful to people who can't leave?
You mean something other than what's on our list?
Yeah. You have time to. I know this is like all new information for you. And if you think of things later, you can always email them to me, or you can come in and see me at WhatsApp and say, hey, I thought about it and I would love to see this on your list because, I saw this done in another city, or I was doing research when I went home and I thought this would be important to include. So it is fine if you can't think of anything today. And keeping an eye on time, we've got about 9 minutes before 5. So if we want to move on to the next agenda item, or is there anything else anybody would like to contribute to this before we move on?
Elena.
Yeah.
My hearing aids died. I don't know what anybody's saying. I
Okay,
don't know what I'm saying right now.
okay.
So if you point at me, I can do the rest of the things.
Go down to the next agenda.
Oh, thank you. All right, so this is just a reminder about What's Up Estacada being on May 15th. And I know that some of us, Tammy's gonna be there. Yeah. So some of us will be there, and I think everybody else is still invited to join. Does anybody have any additional comments on that one?
Denise, your hand is still up. Is that just still up?
I don't know why it keeps doing that. It's not showing us up on mine.
Okay, no problem.
So I
it's
don't know
fine.
why it keeps doing that.
It's fine. I can put it down. Okay. Okay, so are there any comments by the committee?
Next. All right. Is there anybody here for the public comments? No? Okay. Committee comments. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I appreciate it.
Meeting adjourned.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.